Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I am back with another video. Today's video features some products from Spellbinders. This is the Bestie beaded bracelets, the heart hands. This one is the alphabet and the sentiments, and then I have some other ones which are part of Carissa Wiley's new release, and these are her press plate sentiments, as well as the impression disco balls and the stencil disco balls. Now, you might be saying to yourself, Kelly, this is a lot of weird stuff to put together, and I would agree with you, but it's for my daughter's birthday card. And so when you have a theme, you have a theme. So here, this was me doing a little bit of experimenting to see, because I wasn't 100% sure if the holographic paper would press with the disco balls. Spoiler alert, it does, but that's why you see me doing just one at a time there, because I wanted her to have the little holographic disco balls on her card. Now, if you have not watched my videos before, then you may not know what the theme of my daughter's birthday party is, and it was Taylor Swift, because that she loves her music. How we got on the Taylor bandwagon, like I have always enjoyed her music, but it's in Sing, the movie Sing. These are the coordinating dies that come with the press plates. So I'm using those to die cut out my holographic disco balls. And then I will use the same dies to cut myself some masks for the stencils, because they match the same size as those disco balls. So this is one way that you can get like a foiled look without actually foiling. If you're unfamiliar with press plates, you can use them for letterpress, which is what they're intended for, but you can also, if you have the Glimmer hot foil machine, you can also foil them. I struggle a little bit with foiling, mostly because I don't want to have to get all the stuff out. Truthfully, I'm just being honest with you guys. So here, this is just a scrap of watercolor paper that I had, and I'm going to use that to press my sentiments. And again, I want the look of foiling without having to do an actual foil. So this is how I'm getting around that. I'm using pigment ink. This is from Altenew, and I wasn't sure if it would foil with pigment ink or because it was so little and I was pressing it, if it would have worked. It does work, but it works better with the Versamark. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm going back in. I haven't moved my plates, but I'm going back in with Versamark and inking them up, and then I'm going to do the pressing again. So now I've pressed them once with black, press them again with Versamark, and then I'm going to go in with this iridescent embossing powder. This is from Hero Arts. They have a couple of different colors. I'm using the iridescent purple because purple is my girl's favorite color. So I am putting that on, tapping off the excess, and then you'll see when we heat this up that it does catch the light like foiling does. So if you don't have a foil machine, but you do have a better press, this is another way that you could get that look, that foiling look. But also you could do this with stamping and then heat embossing that same embossing powder, that iridescent embossing powder, and get a very similar kind of foiling look. So those are just some things there. Then from there, I am going to die cut them out, and then I'm going to start working on the stenciling, I think, in the background. Before we get too far into it, I do want to mention, because obviously we're going to have story time and we're going to recap Caitlin's party and all that jazz. Spellbinders is having a early Black Friday sale. This is that masking paper I was telling you guys about because I want the masking for my stenciling. So I'm just using those same dies. But Spellbinders is having an early Black Friday sale. I cannot even tell you. Like, they have dies for $1. They have bundles on everything. They have like $5 and $10 things. Like, there's just so much on sale between their early Black Friday. Now, I did, and you'll see them in here eventually. You'll see like the bigger shears. I actually recently purchased a bundle. I'm kind of sad I didn't wait for the sale, but nonetheless, decisions were made. I purchased the Essential Crafters bundle. And what's contained in that is a trimmer like the one I have. That kind of folds out to the 12 inches, but it has not only a trimmer with a blade, but it also has a scorer on there, which that's why I wanted that. And then it also had a guillotine trimmer, which I have never owned. But that is really helpful for like trimming down if you have thicker layers with die cuts or thicker layers, with like, if you've embossed it, the 3D embossing folders are really popular right now. Those can be hard to trim with the slide trimmers. It came with a very large pair of shears, another pair of the detail scissors, which I already love, a tool in one, which is helpful for the dies, and it had an apron. I can't remember if I'm forgetting anything, but basically it was like just over $100 for all of that stuff. So I got 2 trimmers, and I was really happy about that because I will use that. In addition, I did add in a couple of extra blades just so that I would have them for when the time came. But yeah, they're having a massive sale. Huge sale, great deals. So if you have not yet, you may want to check that out. I will link below in the YouTube description. So here I'm pulling out a couple of different purples. I did mess around with this before to see how dark or how light I wanted to go. And I decided that I really wanted to keep it pretty light in the background. And so I'm using some Hero Arts inks. I used Passion Flower, Orchid, and it's grape juice, but it's not grape juice. So grape juice is a really dark, bold purple, which is a beautiful color. But since I wanted to keep it soft, I didn't actually use the darkest like purple. And you can see I'm using some masking tape on the right hand side to just make sure that I don't go over the edge. But basically, I didn't use grape juice. I used what was left over on the brush that I use when I use grape juice ink. So, and then blended that out with the orchid. So I would have a couple of different layers. And then once I'm done doing that disco ball, I am going to go ahead and mask that with the mask that I die cut. And then that way I can move on to the other disco balls so that I have them kind of in the background. And then these, like I said before, are not even part of their Besties release. This is from Carissa Wiley's Shine Bright collection, which is really fantastic as well if you have not seen it. So basically, once I knew, because we always pick a theme for the kids' birthdays, right? And so once I knew that we were going to do the Taylor Swift theme, I was like, okay, now I need to get out there and see what I can find to make her card, because I do try to stay, on theme. Like last year we did Minnie Mouse, so we did a shaker card for that. And so I started looking around because I knew I had seen a couple of things out there. I found this one with Spellbinders, and then Erin Lee Creative also has another one. But hers is like a bundle, which is really great if if you had like a younger child who was, super into Taylor Swift and you were going to be making, very specific Taylor cards for quite some time. But I found that these products, I thought that I would get more use out of separately. So, once I have all of the ink blending done, there is also a string on the stencils so that, you would stencil that and they would be hanging. But I didn't use that. I just used these as my background pieces with the intention of using the holographic. Erin Lee has really great holographic paper. But anyway, so then here, if you're unfamiliar with the Taylor Swift, for the Eras tour, everybody was kind of trading friendship bracelets. Oh, who had Concord Ninth? They had sets that were really great for this as well. So they have friendship bracelets. I was so worried about what a pain this was going to be. They have made this so easy. So these are 2 stamps, that is just, it's all the way across. It's a line of A's, a line of B's, a line of C's, and then they're all in the same space width apart. And you use this one die and it just cuts out all of them. And then you can see on the other one, once the alphabet is out, there's stars and hearts and happy faces, which again, you would see on these friendship bracelets. For the heart hands, it's a layered stencil. So one layer sits on top of the other layer. That's what you see there. And then here for these beaded, Bestie, say this 3 times fast, Bestie beaded bracelets, I am going to cut out of the base of my bracelet out of vellum, because typically when you would be making these bracelets, and I haven't made a friendship bracelet since probably I was in junior high, but you would usually use fishing line or something very similar. It would be clear. And then I just pulled out a bunch of scraps that I had and started cutting all the different shapes. So there was gems, stars, hearts, squares, circles, that were great. Here, we're going to start working on the hands. I decided that I was going to color them. I don't know about you guys, but I don't. Maybe you guys know of a good one. Maybe I don't have it, but I think somebody said barely peach. I don't know. Anyway, I looked at craft. I looked at other ones. I didn't find a cardstock that I felt was going to be a good skin tone. So I just decided to color it myself. So that's what I'm doing. I'm gluing them together and then I'm going to color them as one piece, because you have a topper and then a base for the shadows and stuff. In addition, they also have another one that's a heart hand that has the whole arm, and it's holding a little heart. That one was an option, but I really liked the heart hands. So I kind of made my own version, and I'll show you guys how I did that. But as far as the shading goes, when it comes to coloring anything, whether it's dyes or stamps, a stenciled image, any point where 2 places meet or where one object lays on top of the other, that's where we're going to add the shadows. These are a little bit darker than maybe I would normally do for Caucasian skin, because my daughter is mixed, and she gives the appearance of, being lighter skinned, but she is mixed race. So, we're kind of in between. So I just tried to do my best to match her as closely as possible, because it's her birthday card. So once I have the shadows down with my darkest color, I'm just going to start blending that out and leave some lighter areas. If, I have other videos with, where I've colored stamped images with different skin tones. If you're looking for another skin tone, I would encourage you to check those out, and then you could just apply them to this particular dye or whatever, dye you're coloring. So anyway, we had a Taylor Swift theme. We normally do t-shirts. So last year when we had Minnie Mouse, we all did the same t-shirt, and it just said Caitlin said birthday girl, and mine said mom of the birthday girl, dad of the birthday girl, brother of the birthday girl. You get it. But nobody's making those for Taylor Swift birthday parties. So instead, we did we each got they were black t-shirts. All of us had black t-shirts, but they said different things. So like Peanuts said, I'm just here to support my sister's Swiftie obsession. Eric's said dad, and then in parentheses it said Caitlin's version, because if you know anything about, Taylor Swift, when her music got bought out from underneath her, in order to maintain the rights, she re-recorded, and then she had Taylor's version. Mine said, Darling, I'm a nightmare dressed like a daydream, which is a lyric, and kind of accurate. And then Caitlin said, hi, it's me. I'm the birthday girl. Which is another lyric. And then hers had her like name and her age on it and stuff. They were really cute. For her cake, I kind of I did get some disco balls, but I think her actual name of her song is called Mirror Ball. But same difference. So I got some disco balls. I got some other, holographic, stars, and, just some cake decoration, little balls in pink and purple. Then we had the stars, and then I had the little disco balls, and her cake topper had 3 on it, and then underneath it said Caitlin's version. And since her brother's birthday way back in May, she's been telling me that she wants purple candles on her cake. So you best believe we had to find a purple number 3 candle to put on her cake. She did help me with the cake. This was a good parenting lesson for me, because see, I took Friday off, the day before her party. Oh, what I'm doing here is, so these are all my die cut pieces. Very similar actually to making regular friendship bracelets. I just pulled them out and sorted through them to find the ones that I wanted, and then just adhered them to her, to the clear vellum bracelets. And then I was able to put them on. So I did her name, and then I did 2 song titles, and then 2 extra ones that just were the shapes, just to fill them up. Here is where I'm creating my arms for my my bracelets to sit on. I'm just extending out the die cut that's already there, and then I'm going to shade that with those same colors, and then I'm just going to trim them out. That's what I'm doing there. Is I am erasing the majority of the line, and that's because once you go over pencil with alcohol markers, it traps it. You can't erase it. So I need enough of a line to see where I need to put them, but I don't need it to be dark enough that it's going to be trapped in there. And then I'll just trim these out, and I will hide where they meet with one of the bracelets. So where were we? Oh, her cake. This was a good lesson for me. So on Friday, I normally take off. My husband takes off so that we can get the house in order. We can do any of the things that we need to do before we're going to be hosting a party. And for me, that typically means making, her cake or Nathan's cake, and then the cupcakes. So I did do that. I made the cakes and everything else, and I could have knocked out the decorating, but instead I chose to finish up doing her card, because it's harder for me to be in here making cards when she's awake than it is for me to be downstairs doing decorating her cake. So I was like, I'll just decorate her cake with her, and I will knock out the card because I didn't have time to do both. So here, now I've gotten them kind of all spelled out. I'm using my my Sweet Petunia glue press. I'm just putting down the glue, and then I'm starting in the center. So for her name, which is Kaitlyn, and there's 100 different variations of Caitlin, so don't feel bad if you have spelled it wrong before. But I started with the T, and then I moved out from there, so that way it would be centered on her bracelet. And then I added, a couple of different accessories around the back to fill it out. And then I did the same thing with the song titles. So the song titles I chose simply because those are the ones that she sings most often. So yeah, okay. So anyway, so I made the choice to do it. Well, then that meant Saturday, before her party, I was finishing up decorating her cake, but she was awake. And so this year she wanted to help me. And you guys know from my card making, I don't love busy. I'm much more of a clean and simple girl. But my daughter wanted to throw the book of decorations at her cake. So we did, I did the coloring, like the Lover album, like with the pastels. So we did that. And then we did like a rainbow border where we put all of the colors into the piping bag at one time. Then she wanted sprinkles on it. She kept wanting to add more and more decorations. I mean, it was a lot, guys. It was a lot. And I was like, oh, please stop, please stop, please stop. But I just left it. I just left it because this is one of the things that I learned with being a parent. No matter what it is, if it's unloading the dishwasher or folding the laundry or, dusting or whatever, it is very disheartening when they try to do something, when your young children try to do something, and I'm not talking about just toddlers, and you constantly fix it. It makes them feel like whatever they're doing is not good enough. So, and I understand some people like, I have things that I like a certain way. And I get that. But if you're going to do that, don't fix it in front of them. Fix it after they're in bed. Just tell them that they did a good job. Encourage them, say thank you for helping. I appreciate you, helping. You did such a good job. Just encourage them. And because at the time, they probably are doing it to the best of their ability, and maybe they don't have the dexterity or the mobility to be able to do it as well as you or I could do it. But you don't want to discourage them from trying either. I know so many people as adults who are so afraid of failure that they don't even want to try. And I don't want to harbor that in my children. I want them to go confidently knowing that if they tried and they tried their best, that's good enough. Now, I understand as they, get older and, they have different things. Like sometimes they're going to maybe try out for a team and they're going to go and they're going to try their best and it's not going to be good enough to make the team. And then I'm hoping that we have fostered enough self-confidence in them and, tenacity and work ethic that they will go back and they will practice and they will improve. I'm not saying that, that they won't have other things that they come up against. But I don't want to break their little hearts thinking that whatever they're doing is not good enough. And like I said, I know so many adults who are just afraid to even try. And I think that kind of starts with, from a young age being told that we weren't sufficient. That's just my 2 cents about it. So I shut up my mouth and I told her cake was beautiful and I didn't change any of it. And that is the cake that we that we did for her birthday. And I'm not mad about it. I hope that she has a wonderful memory of us making her cake together. And that it was, something that she can look back on fondly. And I'm sure as she gets older, and maybe has children of her own, if I'm, God willing, lucky enough to be around to see that, when she's telling me about how her daughter was throwing the decoration book at the cake, I can share with her that she too once over decorated quite a bit. So yeah, but we had a good day. It ended up being beautiful weather, which I was very appreciative about. Like it was, I think, a little bit chilly, but at least it wasn't raining. Like that's miserable when it's raining. So here, this is the piece, and it is trimmed down just like 1/8 of an inch smaller than an A2 size card. I'm going in with that orchid color, and I'm just adding a little bit of shading around the edges. You can see the base of my, like what's going to be my mat is the one that I already die cut out of, because I am cheap. I am a cheap chicken. And so I'm not going to use a whole nother piece of cardstock when I have that one. I am going to use that because it's going to be trapped on my card base anyway, and nobody will be any the wiser except for you and me and, anybody else who watches this video. So here I was getting a little bit frustrated trying to get the placement right for my little heart hands. Eventually I found a way to, and they're still not perfect. Even in the end, they're still not 100% perfect. They're a little off on the top. They don't exactly touch. But I'm okay with it. It conveys the message, the little heart hands message. And that is sufficient for me. So yeah, we had a good, my husband was like, I think our house is getting too small. And I was like, no, I don't think so. I'm like, I just think this is the first time that we've actually had everybody who is invited actually show up. Cause everybody has stuff going on, sometimes their friends or whatever can make the party. Sometimes they can't. And had we, it's like Murphy's Law, right? Like whatever you don't prepare for is what's going to happen. For years with Peanut's birthdays, I would buy an extra tablecloth, which ours were holographic, by the way. I would buy an extra tablecloth and then I would put it on the family or the dining room table. And I would get an extra thing of balloons so that there were decorations in there, and literally nobody would sit in there. This time, had I done that, we would have had more than enough room. But I didn't, because in the past I haven't needed it. So now I guess I'm going back. But so we did, like, I got her a fun little banner. We always decorate like the fireplace mantle because that's where we open the gifts. And it's a nice kind of focal point. So I had like holographic little hearts on a string that hung down, and we did balloons with big purple 3s and other ones with disco balls. And then her banner was actually these little friendship bracelets, but on a much bigger scale. So, and that one you could customize. Here's those scissors I was telling you about. Like, they're good. They're really good. They look huge, but very helpful for the trimming of the card. So then from there, I'm just going to mount this right on there, and it'll have just that little bit of a purple border. But yeah, so we had a great time. She got lots of dress up stuff because she's really into that right now. Dressing up as a bunch of princesses. She got a lot of like costume jewelry, which she loves. One of the things that we got her was like a little chest of the princesses. It's Snow White, Cinderella, Belle, and who's the other one? Why can't Bella's the yellow, Cinderella or Aurora, Sleeping Beauty. I couldn't think of it. I was like, who's the pink one? But then you have to remember the little fairy godmothers. Pink, blue, pink, blue. But yeah, that's who it is. It's Aurora. So, and then my mom got her a set that matched, that had like little tiaras and shoes, and the shoes have a little heel on them. That was hysterical trying to watch her walk in those, but she adores them and she likes to play in her little makeup. So for some finishing touches, I just added a clear shimmer to my disco balls. I added some Stardust stickles to some of the gems on her bracelets. Plus we have those two holographic disco balls, and the foil look of the iridescent sentiment. Nice and shiny, Taylor Swift card, all accomplished with some regular card making supplies. So I hope that this inspires you to kind of pull some things together that maybe aren't necessarily part of the same collection to make them work for whatever you're creating. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I always appreciate your time, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.